Chapter 9, World 452. The one with the prisoner of Azkaban. No, not that one. Azkaban, Azkaban, Azkaban. Okay, said the moment he appeared. What the fuck does it say about me that I'm in fucking Azkaban so damn often? I'll grumbled to himself, realizing he was in the phone booth in the middle of a barren, lifeless island shore, covered with sharp, jutting rocks everywhere. Okay, looked up to the sky and seemed to be addressing magic itself. And why the hell did you put me at the fucking entrance? Okay, knew the drill, though he really wondered if wizards were stupid enough to think this made sense or fooled muggles who accidentally made it to Azkaban through all the many massive layers of wards. He picked up the headset and dialed in 5,878,423. It spelled out justice, though every time a K was tempted to just dial 8,675,309. He tried that number enough times to know that it never did connect him to Ginny, but one of these times he thought it might work. The voice of the invisible woman in the phone booth on the rocky barren island shore spoke up pleasantly. Welcome to the island prison of Azkaban. Please state your name and business. Rolled his eyes at the thought that this provided any sort of security or legitimate purpose. I am the Dark Lord Voldemort, and I'm here to do some unsolicited recruiting. Thank you, said the woman's voice. Visitor, please take the badge and attach it to the front of your robes. With a whirring sound, followed by a loud stamping chump sound, a square silver badge came out of the change portion of the payphone. It read, Dark Lord Voldemort, highly likely breakout. Hey, the island prison of Azkaban wishes you a pleasant day, the voice finished resolutely. Please do not feed the Dementors. I.K. once again pondered the absurdity of this as he stepped out of the phone booth and merely walked up towards the metal gates fencing in the prison. The metal gate presented what A.K. counted as another of the so-called impenetrable prison's failings. At only 10 feet high, the Dementors could quite easily float right over them, so they weren't to keep the Dementors in. And with the bars spaced a good half-meter apart, you barely even had to turn sideways to walk straight through them. A.K. disillusioned himself and walked right past the one wizard guard on the island. The guard had the wireless playing and was reading the Daily Prophet. A.K. probably didn't even need to disillusion himself, as he never even looked up. As soon as he crossed through the next doorjamb, A.K. felt the coldness began to surround him. Fucking Dementors! He cast a warming charm around his body and pulled his cloak a little tighter. He managed to avoid running into any patrolling Dementors, and a few spells later found himself in the dreaded maximum security wing. Of course there was no more security here than anywhere else. They'd just changed the name from Cell Block D to Maximum Security Wing to make it sound more imposing. He recognized a few Death Eaters in various states of madness and wailing in pain, while forced his mind to do its best to ignore the effects the Dementors were having on him. Recognizing a familiar, sneering face, A.K. looked both ways and sent an Avada Kedavra into the cell, just for the fun of it. At the last cell, he found what he was looking for. Harry Potter. A low, pain-filled moan was all the answer he received. I've got pawned. Harry slowly looked towards the front of his prison cell and saw a ripple in the air indicating a disillusioned person. A rarely used raspy voice called out, Who's there? And proceeded to mumble under its breath, And what kind of pawn? A.K. cancelled his disillusionment and became visible. He was checking out Harry's condition. He looked emaciated. His hair was scraggly greyed, and oddly enough he'd lost most of it from the top of his head, not so much the sides or back. His facial hair was especially curious, as he'd grown a long beard from only a central point on his chin, but nothing on the rest of his face or upper lip. Frankly, it looked pretty horrible. Who are you? Harry asked, looking at the battle-hardened man who reminded him a bit of himself. I am here to break you out, A.K. explained. But if you're up to it, I could use some answers too. Harry shook his scraggly, bald, chin-pube-covered head. Don't bother. He's coming today to either recruit me or finish me off, smiled. Well, that makes things easier. Can you talk while we wait? You need some food or water. Harry nodded slowly. Both would be nice. I'm dehydrated. I've not even gotten any gruel in days. I barely have the strength to open my mouth and breathe. But right now I'm so furious with anger and rage you won't even notice. Looked at Harry's calm and dulcet tone. Right. He quickly focused inwardly and transformed his body into its transparent, ghostly form. He floated through the prison cell bars, while Harry just watched him impressed. A.K. dug out a ration pack, conjured some water, and handed them to Harry. Harry took the stuff and dug into it immediately. He glanced at A.K. Spadge, Dark Lord Voldemort, shrugged and sat down on the blood and dirt-caked floor across from Harry. He lit himself a cigarette and took a drag. Sounded like as good a name as any. So tell me, what are you in for? I'm innocent, Harry demanded. I was framed. Yes, Harry swallowed the food in his mouth and took a big drink of water. He sighed and began his tale. It was my 16th birthday. No idea what happened. At midnight, I received the usual owls and wishes from my friends. Ron sent me a Chudley Cannons poster. I think it was orange. It was said with a roll of his eyes, and he resumed blowing smoke rings. Hermione sent me a book, A.K. suggested, hoping to stir Harry's memory. Perhaps on defense. Yes, that was it. A book on defense, Harry smiled. And some sort of homemade tasty treats from Mrs. Weasley, I'm sure. Can we get towards something that matters? Harry shook himself a bit and nodded. Right. So, just after midnight, I got the usual birthday greetings and went to bed. When I woke up in the morning, auras had burst into my bedroom and stunned me immediately. Convenient. Kai. Such useful wards Dumbledore has at Privet Drive. Exactly, Harry heartily agreed. Anyways, next thing I wake up in a courtroom, only I'm not in my right mind. I was having to fight some potions effects. I proclaimed my innocence while everyone I know is giving me angry stares and calling me evil, dark traitor. I don't see Ginny anywhere, so I begin to think maybe she believes in me. Oh crap, A.K., sighed. Harry shook his head. And then I found out what I was being put on trial for. Nice? K.K. smiled. The murder of all three of the Dursleys, Harry says with a dark and haunted look in his eyes. What? A.K. asked. You intentionally misled me there. Hang on, Harry insisted. I'm not done yet. A.K. made a strained face and nodded. Harry continued. According to that mockery of a trial, I murdered the Dursleys at the exact same time I was the Burrow murdering Ginny Weasley. Resisted the urge to jump for joy, but couldn't keep the smile off his face. And then I find out I was also seen murdering Rubeus Hagrid on Hogwarts grounds at that exact time as well. I grazed an eyebrow at the thoroughness of this frame. Apparently Dumbledore just happened to have the Marauder's map with him, and he saw me running from Hagrid into the Forbidden Forest. Harry bitterly spat out. Lupin at the trial testified that a map made by school kid pranksters decades ago is incontrovertible proof and can never be tricked. A.K. sighed. And at all three murders they found traces of my wand signature, Harry tiredly added, or what was officially considered close enough, according to Fudge. All right, so let me get this straight, recounted. Framed for a bunch of murders, betrayed by Dumbledore, friends all testified against you, no one believes in your innocence, and most importantly, Ginny Weasley is dead. Harry nodded sadly. Actually, there is one person who believes in me. Okay, thought about it. Neville. Luna. Or are you counting Dobby? Harry shook his head. No, they all testified against me. Even Dobby. Asked in shock. Harry grumbled. Green little bastard has a history of betraying his masters. Harry sighed. Fucker. So was he. Believe it or not, it was Severus Snape. At the trial, he assured me that he knew I was too much of a goody two-shoes, never mind the unlikelihood of committing crimes at the same time at several different sites, including Hogwarts with all of its wards. Just knowing there's someone out there who knows I'm innocent has been keeping me going all this time.
we prove your innocence, and he might have been imprisoned and unjustly for.
Harry asked. How? Why? Why would he do that? KK shrugged. Life debt. Oh, Harry realized. How do you know this? OK jerked back with his thumb. I saw his cell on my way in here. Harry sagged in disappointment. That's horrible. IK again wouldn't meet Harry's eyes. I'm not certain, but he looked pretty dead to me. Harry said nothing as his eyes welled up a bit at the loss of hope. But on the plus side, I saw Bellatrix in the cell next to his. Last I saw her was in the atrium of the Ministry of Magic. Voldemort grabbed her and made his dramatic exit. Maybe he's placed her here to try and get close to me, seduce you. Maybe, IK said. Or maybe you're Cruciatus. On her snapped her free of her imperious curse, and she's finally been released of the evil control she'd been held under for the last 2 decades. Maybe she's trying to repent by sending you secret information on the Death Eaters and got caught, so Voldy had her put back in. Prison? Wouldn't he have killed her? AK shrugged. We're talking about an insane, mush-brained psychotic here, and how a completely nutter psychopathic wannabe Dark Lord would react. Well, I certainly wasn't receiving any secret information from an unnamed informant, AK frowned. Well, of course not. You've got male wards protecting you at Privet Drive, or else who knows how many bloody owls you would have gotten over the years. Not to mention how easy it'd be for the Death Eaters to track you down. Why the hell would she try and send me secret information then? Harry argued. Hello! Insane, mush-brained psychotic! Right, Harry recalled. So, could be anything. But what if she's really beautiful underneath it all? What if she's trying to repent because she feels so guilty she killed Sirius? Harry frowned harshly. I'm not Dumbledore. Second chances are for honest mistakes and misunderstandings. Crazy bitch killed Sirius, Harry insisted. Wouldn't be surprised if she killed Professor Snape too. You're probably right. Harry finished off his ration pack and looked up hopefully. You got any more food? Kay dug into his pockets and pulled out another. Yup, here you go, kid. He tossed it to Harry, who caught it deftly. So, how's life on the inside? If you didn't know about Bellatrix, does that mean you're not getting visions from Voldemort? Harry shook his head in disappointment. No, I've been seeing plenty through his eyes. He's murdered hundreds and practically controls the entire wizarding world now. Entire towns razed to the ground. He's been putting off Azkaban because he wants it to be the last and final conquest. From what I've gleaned of his plans, today's going to decide it all. I could have warned them all of so many attacks if only someone came to visit me. No one's come at all, IK asked. Not even to rub it in your face and call you names. Harry shrugged. Well, occasionally Aurors and guards will come and beat me. Okay. Wondered how long Harry had missed a woman's touch and nodded a bit. Well, that's good, I suppose. No, they beat me, Harry clarified. I didn't say off at the end. Beat me as in Lucius and Narcissa behind closed doors. Not beat me as in Cho in the prefect's bathroom for 2 galleons. 3 if you wanted to whisper things and moan. Nodded. I gotcha. Gotta love those massage. Less massages complete with happy endings. A small smile spread across Harry's face just as a loud explosion sounded. Rah! Said with a smile. I think it's show time. Harry nodded and helped himself up. You sure you want to head on out of there looking like this? IK asked, waving his hand in front of his face, indicating Harry's peculiar hairstylings. Harry nodded. Let the backstabbing traitors see what they've turned me into. Shrugged and saw the point, but thought it rather a bad 2p than that sort of early balding. You powerful enough to take down Voldemort. Azkaban magically turned you into some sort of super wizard by chance. Harry smirked and waved his hand, sending the entire row of prison bars crashing into the opposite wall. Kay looked at the new door and smiled. Yay! You should be fine. I won't get in your way of Voldy then, but just know I got your back if it's needed. Now, let's go put on a show. As soon as the pair of them walked outside of the cell, they came upon a massive pair of Dementors in full attack mode. The air was frigid, while the other prisoners were screaming and wailing even more than usual. IK gritted his teeth, fighting the effects of the larger beast that was slowly floating towards him. Harry stood there unflinching, just staring at the other Dementor, refusing to show any fear or sign of weakness. The other Dementor slowed its approach at the look of determination on Harry's face. Its progress stopped, and it screeched at Harry. Harry just stood there, for all appearances completely unaffected. The Dementor finally halted its screeching and turned the other way, rapidly running away. I could have sworn he heard the bigger Dementor in front of him mumble the word traitor, but figured it must have been his mind playing tricks on him. He was weakening as the Dementor glided up to him. Once it was close enough, A.K. just leapt up into action and punched the Dementor straight in the mouth, unhinging its jaw, knocking pieces of flesh and a few teeth flying. Fucking Christ! The Dementor moaned in pain as he was rubbing his broken jaw. God damn it, man! I'm just doing my job. The Dementor turned around and began a sedate pace away from them. It continued to mumble to itself. Do I go to where you work and break your fucking jaw? I don't think so. Stupid fucking assholes. Okay. Just looked at Harry, who was looking back at him in confusion. Did that? Yeah, it did. After a few moments of silence, Okay gave up thinking about it and looked down at the grey, dry flesh and chunks of bone stuck in his bleeding knuckles. Just a second, he walked over to Bellatrix's cell and summoned her closer. He grabbed her through the bars and quickly used her filthy, matted hair to clean off his hand. Thanks, Trixie! Kay turned to Harry and smiled. All right, let's hurry up. I've no doubt the Order is fighting and losing. Should be fun to watch. Harry smiled to see Bellatrix quietly moaning and shivering with her hair sticking off in all directions now. The pair didn't encounter any more Dementors along the way, and found that they'd missed pretty much the entire battle. Order members lay dead and unmoving. Voldemort was standing triumphantly over Dumbledore's defeated prone form, holding the old man's wand in one hand and his own in the other. Your leader is beaten, he cheered loudly and looked down as Albus struggled to his knees. Tell me, where is your savior now, old man? A.K. turned to Harry. I suppose in the old days that would have been your cue. Harry seemed conflicted, watching off from the side with a, do we sit here and wait for him to kill the headmaster, or jump in now? I.K. shrugged. It's your call. Personally, I find Albus serves a purpose usually, running things, dealing with the paperwork, being the figurehead sort of crap that I doubt you want to do. Voldemort trumpeted to a nearby Death Eater. Go fetch Potter, Snape, and Bella. I want everyone here to witness this. Moral dilemma averted. I.K. said happily, as he motioned Harry forward. Why? An angry and completely inexplicably present Ron Weasley yelled. Gathering all your lieutenants to finish the job for you. A.K. turned to Harry and asked quietly, shouldn't he still be in school? Harry pursed his face in thought. How long was I in for? A.K. cast. A tempest silently and looked at the date. 16th birthday would mean. About 2 weeks. That's it, Harry asked incredulously. It felt like lifetimes. A.K. shrugged, thinking Harry's physical body did not hold up very well. I think it's time to make our presence known. As the Death Eater approached them on his way into the prison, A.K. just calmly snapped his wand twice, exploding both of the approaching man's kneecaps. His screams of pain as he bled out in shock attracted the attention their way. Kay grinned, ignoring the now much shorter Death Eater. No need to fetch anyone. Snape's dead. Trixie has some nasty pieces of Dementor jaw in her hair, and I think Harry here can speak for himself. Potter! Hey, you're popular! A.K. grinned as they walked up calmly. Harry had a look of cold, unrelenting determination on his face. Plump, Voldemort hissed, but felt bristling at that name would be too close. Potter! Are you ready to take your rightful place by my side? After all, everyone here has turned their backs on you, duplicitous traitors that they are. To see how hypocritical the wizarding world populace is, how little faith they have in you, and will happily betray you, their savior, so easily. Harry paused for a moment. All collective groups of people are completely ignorant sheep. The only intelligence is in individuals. Do you believe your little lackeys as a collective are any more loyal, trusting, or intelligent than the rest of the wizarding world? Albus looked around, confused. What? What are you talking about? Voldemort looked at all the baffled faces of the captured Order members that remained alive, as well as the conveniently present schoolmates of Potter. Oh yeah, you don't know. Potter was innocent. Framed, of course. I'm surprised none of you considered what a pussy he's been for the first 16 years of his life. Voldemort pondered for a moment. Anyways, think about how horrible you've been to him, and how you all stabbed him in the back while I talk over his future with him. But the map, Remus pleaded, desperately hoping this was all a hope. Ah, yes, Voldemort smiled victoriously. The infamous Marauder's map. Surely you remember who made the map. Prongs, Padfoot, Moony, and Wormtail. Dead, evil, dark creature, and Voldemort nodded. Exactly! He's a complete fucking idiot as a grown-up, and you expect shit he helped make with other fucking idiots when he was younger to matter. I think I drew a picture of a fire truck when I was 5. Maybe that could implicate Potter for arson. You have proved. Ron perked up and asked. Voldemort turned to Harry and asked, Potter, is this going to affect our discussion any? Harry shook his head. Not in the slightest, Avada Kedavra. Voldemort called out, abiming his wand of the youngest living Weasley. Ron fell over dead, wondering just what Harry had burned down. Now, while the rest of you stew in your guilt, I have a potential ally. He turned back to Harry. You see, Harry, you and I are so very similar. We both enjoyed seeing him die. Raised his hand. I kind of did too. Who are you? Voldemort asked A.K. curiously. A.K. shook his head. No one of consequence for the moment. Isn't Harry who you need to be talking to right now? Harry turned to her. Actually, you know I don't even know who you are either. I'll explain it later. A.K. waved him off. It's a long story. Harry nodded, knowing his instincts told him that he could count on this guy. His longer-term memory failed to recall that he felt the same way about most of the people who betrayed him. Sorry, Tom. No, I won't be joining you. Not even with the wizarding world completely betraying me and turning on me, burning all of my stuff, calling me names, and beating me. Voldemort shrugged. Well, at least you got that. Not that kind of beating, Harry insisted. You sure about this, Potter? Voldemort argued. I mean, I'm happy to kill you, but you do remind me a bit of myself. You were the one who framed me, if you remember, Harry explained. And of course, our connection means I get stuck feeling all of the bad things you do. There's the prophecy flat out stating one of us has to kill the other. You killed my parents and hit me with a killing curse when I was a fucking baby. I'm not sure there's any way to look past all of that. Voldemort nodded and agreed with all of that. If you prefer death, so be it. Avada Kedavra. Harry calmly stood there and stuck his hand in the air, catching the powerful glowing green spell. You'll have to do better than that, he explained as he stared into the glowing green ball of light he held. Avada Kedavra! Avada Kedavra. Harry tossed the first one in the air and caught the next 2. As soon as the first green ball came down, he began juggling the 3 of them. What sort of magic is this? Voldemort insisted angrily. A.K. shook his head. Actually, that's not magic. It just takes a little practice at keeping all 3 in the air. I'm sure you could learn to juggle 3 as well. Moving up to 4 or more is where you need talent. Harry just kept staring at Voldemort and continued juggling the 3 killing curses in the air. Occasionally, he threw one a little higher and would go between his legs just for showmanship. Who the hell are you? Voldemort insisted again, looking at it. A.K. looked over at Harry and saw he was doing just fine. I don't think you want to know. No, Voldemort retorted. I really do. Voldemort retorted. I really do. Shrugged. You're decent at legilimency, I assume. I'll let you take a peek and get the highlights. Quickly schooled his shields and provided a funnel to several of the more fun destructions of Voldemort, as well as a quick consensus on who he was and what he did. With a mental push, Voldemort slammed his way into the mind of a big and saw the thoughts A.K. wanted him to see. Voldemort hurried out of there as fast as he could and began screaming. No! No! You stay the hell away from me. grinned and hurriedly cast a massive protection dome, sealing Voldemort in there with Harry and himself. "I told you you wouldn't want to know." Voldemort began firing spells at the dome and was trying to figure a way out while Harry just kept juggling and watching him. Harry turned to up, jerked his thumb towards Voldemort. "Finish him off, and I'll give you a more pleasant version of what he saw." Harry nodded while he kept staring at Voldemort and keeping all three spells in constant motion. After a few moments where Voldemort was panicking and pounding on the dome, calling for Death Eaters to help him, Harry whispered to any bright ideas on the best way to kill him? Snickered. "Why don't you combine those three curses into one and then make up a new spell that will burn him from the inside out?" "Can I do that?" Harry began moving his juggling closer and closer, and the balls began going faster and faster until they joined into one larger, bright, glowing hunk of green death magic. With a whip of his arms, the ball flew through the air, right as Voldemort turned back towards them, and it hit him solidly in the abdomen. Voldemort had a moment as his eyes widened before his body exploded in light and flared up as he was being burned from the inside out. "Nice work," AKK congratulated. Harry slapped his scar and hurried his presence down their mental connection. He saw Voldemort's body was completely toast here, but that he was taking all of the marked Death Eaters with him. He followed those links and felt the other Death Eaters all screaming in pain, as they too were being burned and dying as Voldemort sucked their life essence in. Harry found what he was looking for and whispered mentally into the young spy's head. "Draco! Potter! Is that you?" came the anguished mental callback. I'm a spy. For the light." Harry grinned peacefully. "I know, but luckily no one knows that I know. Just wanted to say goodbye." "Wait, but you, whoa." And Harry happily withdrew from the links as all the marked Death Eaters perished. He was thinking Draco never really learned that lesson about making friends with the wrong sort. AK smiled knowingly at Harry. "Listen, kid, this just got a tad bit more complicated." Harry raised an eyebrow. "Your Voldemort over there pulled off one of the particularly nasty immortality rituals. You've toasted his body, but he ain't going to be dead." Harry grit his teeth. "Shit!" AK shook his head. "Don't worry about it. It makes sense to me as to why I'm here now. I'm going to take him and put him somewhere he won't ever be a problem again. But I just wanted you to know what I'm doing. You're going to need to play it off as though he's really dead and you've really killed him for the last time. Don't let on to anyone that this didn't fully finish him off. Okay?" Harry nodded. "My instincts are telling me to just agree with you on this one." AK turned himself invisible and went over to the massive, glowing, rippling ball of light. To the outside world, it appeared as the spell had flickered and died, taking the taint of Voldemort away forever. But from in the dome, Harry could feel that wasn't exactly what had happened. Instantly, flickered back inside the dome, right next to Harry. "That was good work, kid." AK waved his wand and stabbed it 3 times in the air, dispelling the massive transparent dome that had kept them encased. AK slung an arm around Harry, and the pair began walking over the dead Death Eaters and defeated Order members. "So what now, Harry?" "Now," Harry asked with a slight smile. "Now I'm thinking of getting the hell out of this god-forsaken country. Let the wizards here fester in their own ignorance." Albus leaned on his conjured cane and made his way to his feet. "I'm afraid I can't allow that to happen, Harry. First, we must get your name officially cleared, and then it is imperative that you finish your schooling at Hogwarts." Harry was about to snap at the headmaster when they put a calming hand on him. "Actually, Albus, I don't think that's a very good idea." "And who might you be?" Albus asked as he tried to straighten up his posture. "Okay," raised his hands. "No one of consequence to this world, but I need to know, have you ever heard of the immortal rights of Hagen?" Albus stiffened immediately. "Only in legend." IK nodded. "As long as you get the general gist of it." "The 100 years?" "The what?" Harry asked. Albus frowned and explained. "The legend says that those protected through Hagen's magic, a demonic ancient god of sorts, are immortal. Their bodies can be destroyed, but they will continue to come back. They hold true for bodiless spirits for 100 years, they claim." "Excellent." Smiled, because surprisingly, Riddle here managed to unearth a bit more information than you and pulled it off. "What?" Albus gasped. IK nodded with a sad smile. Yeah, it's not a pretty one. I think it requires actually eating the heart of your own child, so he must have had some twisted arse experiments going on. Either way, I'm pretty sure he still has a few Horcruxes around this planet as well. Albus' eyes widened. Harry looked at AK. Do I even want to know what a Horcrux is? AK shrugged. I'll explain it later, but I thought Albus might want to keep it to himself that Voldemort is guaranteed to continue to exist for another century, assuming he doesn't regain another body. Albus looked a bit panicked. What do we do? Nothing. AK grinned. I've got him locked up in a special place, but his existence does provide young Harry here with a bit of leverage on you. So running to your Wizengamot and trying to pass laws that force him back to all the backstabbing traitors, or even extenuatingly annoying him, are not in your best interests. You wouldn't dare, Albus insisted. You know he's evil and must be destroyed. AK shrugged. Tell me, Albus, if I can so easily keep him down for the next century, don't you think? I could just as easily take Harry here to somewhere better, and instead give Riddle this world as his personal prison instead? Harry smiled up at Akak. I really have no idea who you are and how you can do the things you claim to. Grinned. Well, just for Albus' sake, I'm going to drop one of my nullification fields. Now, why don't you wave that spiffy little wand of yours, Albus, and cast a point to me, Harry Potter? Albus did so reluctantly, and his wand kept rapidly flittering between pointing at Harry and AK. Do you mean... where you imprisoned Harry for the stupidest fucking reasons around. Now you know I can hop through worlds and therefore can take Harry away and leave you to rot with Voldemort, but I also hold your Voldemort in my hands and will keep him away from this world for its next 100 years, as long your Harry Potter is doing okay. Harry looked up at her as he was beginning to catch on. You could take me to another world, AK shrugged. Yeah, I could, but there's an awful lot of this world you've not seen yet. Canada's got some top-notch wizarding schools, and they aren't half as fucked up as Britain. I'd recommend not sticking around here, because even Albus here knows the best thing for all involved is to announce that Voldemort is really dead, and not spread this information any further than it already has. And I suspect Albus will be a lot more forthcoming in dealing with you and staying the fuck away from you for the rest of your natural life. Albus stared at you shrewdly. AK smirked back. Would you like to see what I showed, Tom? Albus considered it and nodded. Okay. Didn't even wait for Albus to cast a Legerdemain's probe. He simply grabbed a hold of Albus's consciousness and forced the thoughts into his head. Albus' eyes clenched shut as he was forced to rapidly process the information. Your organization of thoughts, because those aren't going to be accessible to a pensieve. Happy trails, Headmaster! Albus took a moment to process a few of the images of Voldemort's dying before being unable to contain it and turning to the side to throw up. Kay pulled Harry with him and they continued on walking. No, you got the gist of who I am, and trust me, you don't want to see what I shared with Voldemort and now your former headmaster. Harry nodded. Okay. AK turned and looked at Harry seriously. You're not the first Harry Potter I've met who was framed and thrown into Azkaban, and I doubt you'll be the last. But you've got your whole life ahead of you. If you want my advice, get the hell away from here. Go to Australia, America, somewhere other than Hogwarts, Britain, and everything that these backstabbing, traitor-filled places symbolize. Harry sighed and agreed. I don't want to be here. You shouldn't be here. I apparated them both off of the island and into a shadowy corner of Diagon Alley. It took a fair amount of power, but Kay had plenty of itching at the surface he never got to use after this Harry took down Voldemort. I'm not saying never come back here, nor to never forgive everyone here. But you won't be able to be around these people, go to class with them, see them at the same stores, and not be angry enough to turn all Dark Lord-ish on them. Harry smiled. Okay, chuckled. Okay. Sure, that wouldn't be all that bad a thing to do. Harry snickered. But still, fresh start here. or one on another world makes very little difference. Only you've got 16 years of experience with this world, with these people, and in time you'll understand what to expect of them. And in case Albus is too stupid, lazy, or dies, you've also got 100 years to track down and destroy some Horcruxes before they become slightly dangerous. What is a Horcrux? Harry asked. A way to split your soul. Voldemort probably has a half-dozen of them around. The diary you destroyed was one. Nagini is probably another. But you've got a lot of time to figure it all out, so I haven't really finished off Voldemort, Harry considered. You did, A.K. shrugged. Not exactly. I'm sort of hanging on to him while you finish the job. Listen up, kid. I'm getting out of here. We're right around the corner from Gringotts. You look like shit, so no one will recognize you anyway, but head on in there. Tell them you're moving your vault to another Gringotts branch, and they'll set you up for moving. Buy yourself someplace nice. Pick up a house elf to help you maintain it. Finish school and take a few years just being someone you want to be. Then, when you can think of these damn people without taking joy in the look on your former best friend's face when he was killed, only then decide if you ever want to come back to this shithole of a country. Can you handle that? Harry nodded. It's a lot more than I'd hoped for, though I still feel like I haven't done my duty. Fuck your duty! I.K. insisted as he began casting his dimension-hopping magic. In the eyes of everyone else, it's been done, but the only difference is that you see me as someone else. Harry frowned for a moment. A.K. waved as he flickered away. We're both nothing more than Harry Potter.